Hi, I'm Casey and I have a crush on food. And today I have a crush on lobster risotto. I'm a little bit more excited than normal today because this lobster risotto is very good and it's really easy. Lobster's not something that you would normally find in my house, but every once in a while the lobster tail goes on sale. And it's a good chance to make something a little bit special. So, on my stove, I have a good sized pot with 4 cups of chicken broth and 1.5 cups of water that I have brought to a boil. And the first thing we're going to do is cook the lobster tails. So I have 3 4-ounce lobster tails here, and I'm just going to drop those in the liquid, and they just need to boil for 4 minutes. So, when they're done, I'll be back to show you how to get the meat out of the shell. So I pulled the lobster tails out of the liquid, and go ahead and reserve the liquid that's in the pot because we're going to use it for the risotto. So just turn the heat off and let it sit there. So I'm going to show you how to take the meat out of the shell. Just get a nice pair of kitchen shears and go ahead and cut down the middle of the top part of the shell. And the shell is a little bit sharp, so just be careful when you're cutting it and pulling it open. So the shell should just peel right away from the meat, and you can just discard the shell. Alright, got that shell off. So in the tail is where the lobster excretes their waste, and actually I don't know what happened to this one, but it's not there, but normally it would be right down here in the middle. So you might have to use a fork to remove it, rinse it with some water, that's fine, just to get rid of it and make sure it's nice and clean. So I have here, you're just going to cut the lobster tail into chunks and just set it aside for now, because we won't put it in the risotto till the end. So there's no real fancy way to do it. You just want good sized chunks so people can see the lobster in the risotto. So kind of just like this. Alright, next step, risotto. Alright, so now it's time for the risotto. And risotto can be a little intimidating for some people, but actually it's really not that hard. The thing about risotto is you have to enjoy standing next to the stove, get a glass of wine, and just enjoy the process of cooking it. It doesn't really take that long, but you do have to kind of babysit it. So you don't want to be making a bunch of different things when you're making the risotto. So I have a good sized pan here on a medium heat, and my pot that has the chicken broth and the water in it that we boiled the lobster tail in, I just have it on simmer because that's the liquid we're going to use. So to the pan first, I'm going to add about ½ tablespoon of butter and like 1/4 cup of chopped onion and 1/4 cup of chopped carrots. I'm just going to let the carrot and the onion cook for just a couple of minutes. Alright, now it's time to add the risotto to the pan. So, get some more butter, 2 tablespoons, and drop that in the pan. And let it melt a little bit. Then we're going to add 1 cup of risotto. So toss the risotto around, let it toast for about 2 minutes. Risotto is an Italian rice, and if you've never had it, when it's cooked, it has an almost creamy texture. It absorbs a lot of liquid, so has a lot of flavor depending on what you put in it. It's really good. Okay, I'm going to start adding the liquid now, and the first time you add liquid, you're going to do 1 cup. So I have that here. We're This is the part where you just kind of have to relax and stir. So you're just going to stir it. You don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. You definitely don't want it to burn. So what's going to happen as you stir it is the rice is going to absorb the liquid. And if it looks like it's bubbling a little too much, which I think mine kind of does, you can just turn the heat down to like a low medium. So I'm going to relax and enjoy the process, and I will give you a glimpse of what it looks like once the liquid's absorbed and it's time to add more liquid. Okay, so the rice has absorbed our first cup of liquid, and for the rest of the additions, you're just going to do half a cup of liquid at a time. So I'm going to pour that in there, and again, believe it or not, it's going to absorb more, and you will use pretty much all of the reserved liquids that from boiling the lobster. So you just keep repeating the process. Let the rice absorb the liquid and keep adding half a cup until you run out of liquid. Alright, so we're ready for our final liquid addition. And if you want, and I want, you can put a splash of white wine in the last half cup, just a quarter cup, just to make it, might be a little more than half a cup, but that's fine. So I'm going to pour that in now, and a splash of heavy cream, like a tablespoon. So put that in too. And then at the very end, we're going to add back the lobster and 3/4 cup of frozen peas that have been thawed. So you can do that while the liquid is absorbing. Put the peas in. And you know, if you forget to take the peas out and they're still a little bit frozen, that's totally cool. And here's my lobster. Just let all the liquid absorb while the peas and the lobster get warm. Alright, so I enjoyed the process, and my lobster risotto looks great. You can serve this with a salad. I've served it with roasted butternut squash, or maybe just a lovely glass of white wine. So I hope that you've learned that risotto isn't that hard. It's fun to make, and it's fun to eat. Salud!